guys, I thought I will do a Authortube tag. It's probably the best way to introduce myself to you, so you know me a little better. I have my cappuccino here, and yeah, let's do this. I have questions of Authortube newbie tag made by Jenna Streety. It's 14 questions, and let's start. In one sentence, what's your book pitch? If you have multiple works, choose your favorite. So it would go like this. A castle full of exiles with magical powers, and a young witch who is choosing the runes as her magic practice, and the Northern Way, as I call it in my book, and a few demons which are lurking in the castle to take their souls. That would be, it's a bad description. You cannot simply explain the whole book in one sentence. For me, it's impossible. I cannot do that. So that was the pitch. I need to work on it. I know that. If you were a book, how would you pitch yourself? I actually cannot think of anything that I could use as a description. You know, those Harry Potter meets something. I probably would be somewhere in the Harry Potter universe. What do you usually write? I write high fantasy and magical realism. I mix in some mystery, some gothic vibes, but not too much. I also, of course, include some romance, not too hardcore. I also would like to try my hand at writing historical fiction, but I think it's a hard work and you really need to know what you're doing. So yeah, I'm sticking to the high fantasy and magical realism. Number 4, what's something you will never write? I've been thinking about it, and yeah, I think I will never write true horror. I'll never write erotica. I probably will never write mystery in a sense of, you know, detective work, like criminal stuff, because I'm smart enough to understand that I'm not smart enough to leave all the clues, to mislead the reader, to do all that intricate stuff that is needed for this kind of story. And I'm thinking also that I might never write sci-fi. Never say never. You can always find something good in those genres that are different than yours, than what you're used to. So yeah, but these 4, I think, would never be what I write. Number 5, what is your goal for the Authortube channel? For starting Authortube channel? For starters, I think is to challenge myself. I've been trying to write more consistently throughout this year because all the corona happened and stuff, and I had more time on my hands, and I decided if I want to do this, I have to start now, because there's no better time than staying at home with all this free time and just using it for watching TV or playing video games. It didn't appeal to me anymore. First, challenging myself, and yeah, taking myself more accountable. Another goal, I would say, is probably the main one, to make my work more visible, my writing more visible, in a sense that one day I still dream to publish what I'm writing. And I think it's important to have people who will be reading your book before you even start going towards the publishing. And I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I need to figure it out because this channel is in English and I'm writing in Lithuanian, so I still need to work on these things, but I think it's too early to speak about it. So yeah, for now it's just finding friends, joining the community and challenging myself to do something more with my time. What made you want to start writing? I wrote lots of things since I was a child. I wrote poems, I wrote short stories, I even tried to make my dreams turn into stories. Of course, at that time they didn't make much sense. And of course I tried my hand at writing Harry Potter fiction when I was I don't know, 13 years old or something. It didn't work, but it was already a start. There was always something that made me want to write down things. And I used to like literature classes. We used to have homework, or not exams but tests, where our teacher would give us an excerpt from a book and we have to write an interpretation. Yeah, so those were one of my favorite in school. And the main push that pushed me towards the real writing, to start thinking about it more, was actually in 2006. I was finishing school, and at that time I just finished reading Christopher Paolini's book Eragon, the first in the series. And I remember really clearly that in the end of the book there was this blurb and a bio of the author. In the bio there was a sentence that he said that he was 15 when he started writing Eragon. I don't know if it was a real writing or just an idea, but that sentence made me think that, damn, this guy is so young. He started it so young. Why can I not? I was already older than 15. I was finishing school, and I had some ideas that I kind of started playing around with, what I would like to write about. I was really high on this high fantasy train, especially after reading Eragon. And yeah, it was the moment that I realized, okay, I need to do something about this. And I started writing down the idea that I had. Of course, now when I look at it, it looks a little like a plagiarism from what I was reading around the time. But I still, through the years, that idea stayed in my head. I still have it, and I know that I will write it one day. But it turned to almost a lifetime project, and I don't know, after like 8 or 9 years of trying to do something about it, I finally decided that I have to stop, because I was down the world building hole. I was world building way too much, and I made this whole map and almost a Bible about the world that I was creating. I enjoyed it so much, and that was the problem. I enjoyed it too much. I fell down the rabbit hole, and yeah, so I moved to my current project about the witch, and I think it was the best decision for me, because I know that when I started this story I wasn't mature enough to write it, and I know that now I'm developing my craft. I know much better what I'm doing. I finished my first draft ever of another story. The one that I'm working on is a sequel. So yeah, I know that I will write this story one day, and there's lots of side things that I'm constantly thinking of and reminding myself about, and one day I'm sure it will turn to a real thing. Number 7. What is your publishing path? Self-published, traditional publish, hybrid, haven't decided yet, or just write for fun? So, I can say that at the moment I'm thinking about trying to publish traditionally. I'm working on editing my first draft. When it will be ready, I'll try to find some better readers, and I'll try to send out some for some publishing houses if they will take it in. But since I'm living in a small country, and I was thinking also about the possibility to self-publish the book, but the country is so small that I don't think we have a real self-publishing platform that would work for me. I could try doing it online in like worldwide platforms like Ingram Spark or anything like that. I still need to look into that, so I keep it as an alternative, because first I want to try the traditional way, because I was writing in Lithuanian, and if I decide to do the self-publishing, probably I should translate my book to English and then do the whole thing again. But translating in English would mean even more work, because it's my second language, and you can tell from my from the way that I speak. At the moment I'm writing for fun, especially the current book, the sequel to the first book that I would like to publish one day. I know that those stories have flaws, it's really flawed, and I don't know how long it's gonna take me to edit it properly, because the more I look at it, the more I see problems that are really big, and it might need a full rewrite, the first book, but I hope to somehow manage it without rewriting the whole thing. It took me so long. Another problem with traditional publishing in my country would be because of the theme that or the genre that I'm writing in. Fantasy is not the biggest genre in Lithuania. I believe that there's a lot of people who are reading fantasy, but when you look at the shelves in the shops, it's just a very tiny portion of the whole shop. Usually it's somewhere in the corner, far away from the mainstream stuff. Yeah, I was actually getting pretty angry lately because I just had nothing to read. And when you look at the shelves, you see half of those books are sci-fi, which I don't read much, and the other half is the books that I have already. So I even started buying online from abroad because I just didn't get anything good in the genre. So for me, publishing my story also would be a very big achievement if I manage to do that, because as I said, fantasy in my country is not that big. Number 8. What content do you bring to the Authortube table? So, I can tell you what I cannot bring to the table, and that is writing advice, because I am not a professional writer. At the moment I'm doing it for fun. I can tell you what works for me, but it might not work for you. So on regards to this topic, writing advice, I don't know. But to be a good writer, you also have to read. So I think I'm going to mix a little bit BookTube and Authortube. You can expect some wrap-ups or TBRs, maybe a readathon that I would join, or maybe I will think of my own readathon. Maybe I could even base it on my book. I have some interesting concepts that could turn into something like that. So yeah, I will think about it. Also, I was thinking of maybe doing bullet journal stuff, because I keep a bullet journal. That's also one of the ideas that I could bring to the table, but I don't know, YouTube is full of this kind of videos. If you are interested, I'm sure I could share this. Also, I've been trying to do some jewelry lately, some wire jewelry, so maybe I could do something with that. I'm thinking of opening my Etsy shop and try to sell a little bit to make some money on the side, because I'm trying to save for my own place and money is a big thing. Yeah, so I was also thinking about doing maybe live write-ins where we all sit down and do some techniques, or try some techniques, or just chat a little bit, work a little bit, chat again, get some coffee or whatever is the beverage of your choice. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Question number 9. What's your biggest writing struggle? Definitely procrastination. I'm a master procrastinator even at work. I spend a lot of time thinking about writing and not enough time writing. But lately I've been trying to do something about it, and Camp NaNoWriMo in spring was quite a big hit for me, because I managed to finally finish the first draft of my book. I still need to get into a better habit of writing more often, but of course after I finished my first draft I really needed to spend some time away from writing, because at some point I just started hating it and I want to enjoy it, because that is one of the best things that you can do. Creating your own story it's better than gaming, than watching TV or anything. And I even sometimes find myself thinking about it when I'm, let's say, gaming something, and I just sit there and think, oh, my character could do this, oh, this is a nice idea for a setting, and it's always like that, and I just want to get back to it and write about it, and I feel this kind of joy inside of me when I do it. So yeah, procrastination is a thing that you have to beat, and after a while, when you manage it, it's worth it. That's why I also started this YouTube channel, because I think doing some vlogs and keeping myself accountable to you guys, it's gonna be also a good kick in the ass. Question number 10. What's your best writing skill? I would say character creation and world building, especially world building, because I enjoy this activity. I could spend hours and hours of creating fantastical worlds. As I said before, I have this huge story in mind that I made a map for, and it has everything. It has cities, mountains, rivers, areas, castles, names. I even made a list of animals who are living there. I made a Genesis story for the creation of the whole world. There's even royal families, these different nations, and I made the royal family trees. So you can see where the rabbit hole goes deeper and deeper and deeper. Yeah, it's a very rich world that I created, and the story is even written yet. I just still have it in some sentences. I never really sit down and write anything up. I didn't do much about it. So yeah, I get all these crazy ideas, and it's like a snowball that adds up when you start doing something. And suddenly you realize how big it got, so now I'm looking for a way to actually organize it, because when I started I only had Microsoft Word. Now I'm using Scrivener, and I think I have to get all the story there to make it more organized, and finally maybe sit down and do the outline. Yeah, and for character creation, game The Sims. I used to play that quite a lot, and you know how you're creating a character, doing the clothes and stuff, and suddenly you start thinking about the backstory of that character. Oh, I would like this to be an option, and yeah, you start to think where they work, what they're doing, what they like, what kind of people they meet, what's their backstory. I tend to do that a lot, and that's why character creation in this game is the most favorite thing to do. And I know I have a problem with that because I never really enjoy the game. But back to the character creation, I think it's it's one of my stronger sides. But for really putting that character in the story, I have a problem because I need a good plot for that. I have a character who is interesting, but most of the time I don't know how to expand the story of that character, if you know what I mean. I don't have a problem imagining characters, but I have a problem of writing them down on page. Okay, so now we're at question 11 or 12. So I'm choosing 12 because I'm a new Authortuber. So the question goes, if you are new to Authortube, what is your biggest Authortube question? I think it's to write or not to write. It sounds cheesy, but when you think about it, you always have to think what you're writing and how, and sometimes you can be insensitive to some topics, and you always have to keep yourself ahead of what you're doing and understand some things. And yeah, you need to think what should be written, what should be said, and maybe not written and kept for yourself. So to write or not to write, in this sense. And also why I'm asking this question is, I think all the Authortube is surrounded by this question. What should be written, how it should be written, what should not be written. And yeah, this question is rhetorical, which has a lot of answers, and maybe none of them is the real one. I like to think about it philosophically. Number 13. Are you looking for any new channels to follow, beta, CPs, or other types of writer buddies? If so, tell us who you are looking for and connect with them in the comments. I'm looking for friends, for community to share my story with, to share the writing struggles and accomplishments. I have acquaintances, but I don't have many friends, so my social life is mostly non-existent because the pandemic hit everyone so hard, and yeah, just staying by yourself even though you're in a crowd of people, it's bad. And Authortube, I think, is a place where you can find friends and share the ideas that you have, which might not be interesting for your friends outside outside this community. And also friends, because you might be scared and lonely in this writing journey, and it's always nice to have someone to say, good job, keep going. I try to do that myself, to encourage people and keep true to themselves and do what they like, so I also expect the same for me. And we're finally at the last question, number 14, which is, what are you most excited for during this new fresh start on Authortube? So as I said, I'm looking for friends, I want to join the community, and yeah, just spreading the love and the joy of writing. Yeah, so that's all I've got for you today. Expect me to do more this kind of tags. I think I will do a booktube tag as well, booktube newbie tag, because I love reading books and joining readathons and stuff. So I think I will do a healthy mix of author and reader stuff. Yeah, so if you like this video, please subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. I really appreciate it, and yeah, let's be friends. Stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy your writing journey as I do mine, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.